I'm about to start dinner, so I thought I'll try to remember to vlog a bit more. So yeah, if I remember, I'll show you the different steps for my dinner. It's a casserole, so it's nothing complicated, but still, I'll show you. Perhaps some of you might find it useful when you're trying to figure out what you're going to eat this week. So yeah. Don't know if you can tell, but here is rice and lentils and onion and garlic and paprika and squash and corn. Is there anything else? Well, coconut milk, some water, and then I'm going to add some spinach at the end, and I'm also going to add some tomato sauce. Or it's sort of crushed tomatoes, but it's, no, tomato passata. That's what it is. Yeah, so now it's just gonna simmer for about 10-15 minutes before I add the finishing touches. Okay, so here we are. I forgot to start filming before I poured in the tomato sauce. I just put in half the packet, however, so you know if any of you are thinking about doing the same. I also found some, I don't know, I found different translations depending on different English, it appeared. Long beans, green beans, haricots verts, I don't know what you're calling them, but yeah, I found some of them in the freezer, so I broke a few. Oops, so I broke a few and poured it in as well, and I chopped some spinach and also poured it in now. So it's been simmering for 10 minutes. I'm gonna add 10 more minutes on the timer, and yeah, let it simmer. And I also added a pinch of cayenne pepper now, and in the beginning I added 3 teaspoons. Well, I don't know, I put it in my hand, so I don't know if it's exactly teaspoons, maybe it's more like 4, I don't know, of salt, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of yellow curry powder, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and now I added a pinch of what did I say? Cayenne pepper. So that's it, and it's been simmering for 10 minutes, and I am going to be adding 10 more minutes. Here we are. Have it, and it's done. I've started a few times during these past 10 minutes that it's been on the stove, but otherwise just makes itself. And the red lentils that I put in, they sort of dissolve entirely and just makes the casserole a bit more thicker. So that's sort of the reason, well, apart from the nutrition, that's sort of the reason why I pour them in, because if you want them to stay whole, then add them in during the last 10 minutes and they won't dissolve. But yeah, that's it. I am heading to get a COVID test because I woke up with a massive cold last morning. And it needs to go 24 hours. Hopefully you can hear me, but it needs to go 24 hours. So I decided that I'd book the appointment immediately so that I don't have to wait for my answer. So that's where I'm heading. I am done taking the test. Again, I don't know if you can hear me, so maybe I won't use this material, but well, it... Okay, so I just went and had a COVID test done because I couldn't talk in the street. There were too many cars and I don't know if you could hear me anyway. So that's why I sort of stopped the recording and continued at home. What was I saying? Yeah, so I went and had a COVID test done because yesterday I woke up with a massive cold and I figured that... we have to wait 24 hours before taking the test, and I figured that today it will definitely be past 24 hours, and I probably, whatever virus I am having, whether it's COVID or something else, I most likely got it at least the day before yesterday, if not earlier, because yesterday was the day that I woke up with a massive cold and stayed at home, and yeah, so home from work. So I got an appointment for today to take the test. There are self-tests that we are taking here in Sweden. So they give you a little kit and you go... Well, I asked the lady who helped me, I asked her if I just did it in the hallway, and she said, well, you could do it at the end of the hallway, or you can actually go outside because we have other patients that are coming in to both deliver their tests and pick up their tests. So I went outside and went to a little corner, like outside, not outside of the corridor, but like outside of the building. And I read through the instructions thoroughly about 3 times. I really only needed to read it once, but I wanted to make sure that I didn't misinterpret anything. So I just thoroughly read it through 3 times. And yeah, so it was 3 tops. I don't know if they're called tops in English. I want to say that they are, but sort of the sticks with a little cotton on the end. So the first one, well, actually the first thing you had to do was to open the test tube and pour in a solution, which is, what is it called in English? Koksaltlösning. I will write it here or wherever there is space on the screen, and put that into the test tube. And then get the first cotton stick and shove it into the back of your throat. And not shove it, but you have to put it at the back of your throat. It said carefully, so obviously they know that if you put it too far back, there is a risk that you might, start gagging and throwing up. So, carefully, but as far back as you can. It said that very clearly, as far back as you can. And sort of swirl it around and move it around and scrape it against the back of your throat for about 20 seconds. Not about, for 20 seconds. And then you put that and move it around into the test tube with the solution that's already there. And you do that for 20 seconds as well. And then you remove the tops, the little stick from the test tube, so you don't leave it in. And they provide you with a bag where you are going to discard everything that's not usable after you've done the test. So you put that in that bag, and then you take a second one of those cotton ball. No, cotton ball is that. Anyway, so you take the other little stick with cotton and you shove it up your nose, straight in, as far back as you can. It's said about 2 to 3 centimeters minimum. I checked in mine and it was about this, and this is about 4 centimeters as far as I could go, sort of back, and then you scrape it there again. If any of you are worried that might hurt, it doesn't hurt. At least for me, it didn't hurt. It does, however, for me, sort of tickles your nose, so you want to sneeze. And if you have COVID, you're not necessarily prone to want to sneeze outside in the streets. So it was just that sort of trying to... I was sort of clenching my jaw just to prevent myself from sneezing. So you do that for 20 seconds, and then you have to do it with the same cotton, which felt a bit disgusting. With the same little stick with the cotton, you have to do it on the other side. I move it around there as well. And as I have a cold and I'm quite snuffly, it just did not feel very pleasant to do that. But yeah, for 20 seconds as well. And then into the test tube and swirl it around for 20 seconds yet again. And then put that in the bag with the things that you're throwing away. And then you take the third and last little stick with cotton at the end. And then you were given a little cup, a little tray, which you have to sort of spit in your saliva. So you sort of have to gather it or just stand there spitting over and over again, because it says that you have to cover the bottom of the little cup tray thing that they gave you, so that you are dipping the cotton stick into that afterwards. So you're not just dipping the end, you actually have to, get it dipped in saliva. Yeah, I know this isn't the nicest thing to talk about, but in case any of you are interested in how the tests, how the self-tests are done, I'm just explaining it. So yeah, and then after doing that for 20 seconds, you put that again into the same test tube. So all the 3 sticks go into the same test tube, and you swirl that around for 20 seconds yet again, and then you discard that cotton stick, and then you put the lid on the test tube, and you put that in a specific little bag that's a sort of biohazardous. No, what did it say? Well, yeah, it says something like that this is really dangerous stuff, like handle with care. And then they had a little sort of letterbox in which you could put that bag, which you sealed with the test tube inside. And the other bag I just took with me and threw it away at home, because I figured if I'm sick and I've, saliva and all of that into those little things, I said, better not to just throw it into whatever bag in the city, into whatever bin, because there are people who collect the garbage of those bins, so I don't want to accidentally contaminate any sort of garbage man who works in my city, so I just figured I'd take those things at home and discard it here. So that's what I did, and that was my morning. So now I'm going to drink a cup of tea, and that's Stinky, and that's Morran from Mumindalen, if you don't know. That's sort of about the length of childish things I have in my home. They're magnets, fridge magnets, and I really, really love them. Anyway, that's about random fact, but I just realised that they've probably been there all the time. So what else? No, that's it. That was me taking my COVID test. And now I'm going to watch a movie with my best friend Lina. She's at her place and I'm at mine, and we pick a movie and we write, we start it and then we pause it. So we write like I'm at 0.3 seconds. So either she or I put it into the same, and then one of us does a countdown, and then we press play at the same time, and then we watch the movie and we comment to one another throughout the movie. That's sort of how we are doing movie time. So any tip for you out there, if you haven't figured it out, that's a way of doing movie time with your friends during, a time in which many of us have to still keep our distances to one another. So yeah, tea now and then movie. So that was the Lucia celebrations. Hopefully it will get lighter outside because Lucia is early in the morning. That was pre-filmed, pre-recorded. It said that during the 11th and the 12th, and it's the 13th today, so they must have filmed that midday because it was getting brighter as they were filming, and yeah, that only happens a few hours in the middle of the day, so that wasn't in the morning that they filmed because that's, you know, dark as night. Obviously, there are no regular Lucia celebrations this year because of COVID, so they were all cancelled. Otherwise, it's kind of a big celebration here in Sweden where schools set up and the kindergartens and the churches have, you know, they get filled with people who are watching the Lucia choir, and it's just a beautiful tradition. You know, it fits us here, especially because of the fact that it's so dark and you get this you know, a day where we're celebrating the light and the light bearer who is Lucia. So it's yeah, it's a very suiting tradition and celebration we have here in Sweden. So, you know, obviously it's boring that we can't celebrate as usual, but the television usually always has one anyway, because, you know, if people can't get out or if you're sick and things like that, so they always have one that they show. So this year, I suppose, most of us or all of us are just watching the one on telly instead. So that happens, you know. It's been an interesting year, so it's only fitting that we'll end it in an interesting way as well. So that's it for now. I will see you when I see you. Bye.